Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to Formula 4 on iRacing. Yes, for this season they've actually changed the race lengths in this series from 20 minutes down to 15. It basically allows people to race every half an hour because I'm pretty certain now there are 4 series running all the time inside the sim. Personally, I think it's a little bit of a silly move. I think you're just then going to get people racing one combo lots and it's kind of going to ruin the other 3 series a little bit more. But I can kind of understand what iRacing is trying to do with it. So today we're here for a 10-lap race around Phillip Island. 2.2k SOF. I was about the 9th ranked car in the lobby, but I managed to put myself on the 2nd row of the grid. This race will probably come down to slipstream, so hopefully we can stay towards the front. Of course, if you're new, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed to the channel as well. And if you haven't tried out iRacing already and you want to do so, you can help support us by using my affiliate link down in the description below. But yeah, let's head down to the grid then and hopefully we can get a good race. Well, there's only 2 real braking zones around this lap, so I'm expecting this race to be completely dictated by slipstream here. Just trying to stay in the pack. We'll wait and see what we can do. 15 minutes here at Phillip Island.
The air temp is 21. Okay, standing start. Stay calm. Focus.
Crew chief there giving me a huge amount of information, and unfortunately it was a bit of a distraction as we try and get the launch there. Not doing too badly. Guy alongside me has done a pretty good one though in towards someone. Obviously a fast flat out sweeper, especially on lap 1. Just going to be about trying to stay out of trouble as we actually find a little bit of speed around the outside there. Trying to brake nice and early, obviously on the cold tyres through turn 2. And immediately we're up to the podium places. A little bit of chaos on my outside. No idea what happened there. But I think the big goal is a few guys here that got a lot more iRacing than everybody else. So my aim is just kind of try and stick with the 2 in front for as long as I possibly can in this race. They were only a few tenths quicker than me in practice. So certainly slipstream, you know, if we can just hang on in there, will make the difference over the course of this one. This is one of the corners though where I definitely feel like I'm losing time. When you get it right, it's definitely quicker in 4th gear. It's just getting it right is the problem at the moment then. It's going to be a 10-lap event though. I don't believe we'll quite stretch an 11th in this race today. Lap times kind of, if you're running the 29s, you're doing pretty well around here. I did get a few laps of practice in. But ultimately, you know, not as much as I probably should, as there's definitely a lot of chaos going on behind us on lap 1. Already a gap seemingly opening up between P4 and P5, so that works out quite nicely. Especially if Florian behind as well, just seemingly is dropping back a little bit. Of course, the mirror always makes it look like the cars behind are further away than you would expect them to be, but banging off the limiter then, 245 kilometers an hour, back into turn 1. And now we just wait for these 2 in front to have their battles there. Dirty air though. Definitely need to make sure we keep it a little bit further away from the outside curbing, because that will upset the balance of the car as well and potentially cause an upset. 75 I rating for me if I was to finish here. 48 for the leader, 44 for P2. So it just goes to show, at least in iRacing's view, just how out of my depth I am fighting up towards the front. You know, anyone that's seen enough videos will know I'm not normally one that fights up towards the front in races. I'm just normally here to survive. And I've remembered to sort out my tear-off bind as well, which is fantastic news. So hopefully we're not going to be met with dead bugs and insects all over the screen throughout the entirety of this race then. But like I said, honestly, I think my psychology in one like this is just try and hang with these 2 for the early laps. Don't worry about trying to kind of get involved. The goal has just got to be stick with them, because hopefully others behind will not have the pace and we can open up a bit of a gap there. Florian now, see that gap up to a 2nd, and that's pretty much the critical slipstream zone with these cars. Will we see Jordi try and get a run on Juan back in towards turn 1 though? He's very, very close to him. He's going to have a look for it this time round. So we make our way down the start-finish stretch. The problem is, pretty much everybody reaches VMAX by the time you get to turn 1, especially if you've had a little bit of a tow, as it's just that one bump on the outside of turn 1. That one bump that unsettles the car just a little bit. And that can make all the difference here. I've definitely span off that bump a couple of times before, but there we go. Jordi into the lead. Juan again just having a bit of a look for it. We will just keep trying to fill the mirrors, see if we can... Oh, there you go. Force an error, which we will.
Clear left.
That corner again, very, very easy. Just to get some snap oversteer as you try and get the power down on the exit. And that will probably bring Florian back into the fight as well. Ready for next lap. Of course, yeah, you just kind of give that opportunity to close back in. The tyres on these cars are quite forgiving as well. Yes, they will overheat. But hopefully not too badly. You've kind of got to do a lot to them to kind of completely cook them, which is quite important as well. There is definitely Juan struggling a little bit. Definitely not as confident as I was expecting him to be on the brakes over the top of the hill there. Unfortunately, I don't really know many corner names around Phillip Island. I know turn 1 is Doon Corner, but that's about as far as my knowledge of corners go around this circuit. I'm just hoping I don't do what I did in that F1 race a few weeks back and manage to beach myself. As here we go then, trying to look for a move for the lead of the race, even if it's just for one lap. It'd be nice to get one lap led on the board, and through we will go. And up then into P1. Crew chief loving that one, as you would expect, but again, it's just like trying to get tucked back into that apex through turn 2 there. You really have got to try and maximise your run off the exit of the corner, and I wonder whether we're going to see Juan trying to have a look for it. Yes, he will. There's definitely a little bit of kind of different perception based on your iRacing. Didn't have a look against the other guy. Will certainly have a look against me, though. So we will just slot back in. That's not much of a concern at the moment. So just try and nudge the brake halfway through that corner. Just try and dive the front in ever so slightly more. Is so important there, so you can get the power down nice and smoothly on the exit. Again, a lot of the exit curves here are not particularly forgiving. So we can definitely try and pretend to throw a move to the inside up over the top of the hill. I say I'm just worried kind of about the concertinaing effect. You can definitely see though Juan cannot get that car locked in where he needs it to. You can get away with locking that front right tyre through the final turn. It will, if you can make sure the outside wheel is still rotating, you don't actually suffer too many problems because of it then. So here we go, once again, a bit of deja vu as we start lap 5. We should once more get the run back in towards turn 1 there. So we're again going to try and look for it.
Car left.
Won't have as much overspeed this time.
Hold your line.
Definitely still will have a little bit there. As, oh, that was a bit sketchy through the exit. I apologise. I was not really trying to cut across his nose there the way I did. Again, though, we might see Juan get a run off of the corner. Definitely has a little bit more confidence at this stage of the race, but this time round, we'll just see if we can try and throw a bit of a block. Try and defend the inside line in towards the next hairpin. So get it slowed down, though, onto that apex. That's the important bit. And there we go. We might actually get a lap lead under our belt this time round. Just got to try and learn, of course. You've got to make sure you know, ready for the final lap, if you are in this position, as to where you're strong, where your competitors are strong.
Clear right.
So we can just about try to put alongside us, but I think it's better of getting that run and trying to utilise it. Can leave it in 5th gear up there if you're not in the slipstream, which works, I think, a little bit better. Let it kind of bang right up towards the red line off the top of the revs.
Defend your position.
But it works quite well there. That final corner, or this final corner, just about flat out there. You've got to be really careful that you're not too aggressive, though, with the steering in the process. But, yeah, just about flat out there as here we go. Try and try and look back to the outside then. Will we get a lap lead registered, though, in this race? Yes, we will. So happy about that one. And will he be able to do anything back around the outside in towards turn 1?
Still there.
Just going to try and cover off a little bit more aggressively. Just a slight blend as well through turn 1. Again, though, park it on the apex through turn 2. Don't allow him to get the run off the corner. And again, the circuit opens up on the exit. Someone's made an error a little bit further behind. No idea what has happened there. But again, I'm not going to try and defend the inside line too much at this stage of the race. A little bit hesitant on the way in.
Clear right.
And again, we will tuck back in then to P2. So I really think Geordie, not happy with the mistake he made earlier on, hasn't really been given an invitation back into this top 2 squabble. He's kind of just sat there, and you know full well at some point he's going to try and stick a nose in and potentially try and make the move happen, but I mean, this is just all strategy, isn't it, in a race like this? It is basically a chess match of who will make an error, who will blink first. So actually, that turn around there, maybe a little too focused on the apex rather than the minimum speed through the corner. We will try and get the hammer down once again. Easy does it. Easy does it. Already about to start lap 7 though. This one really has flown by. Still not entirely sure how I feel about these 15-minute races. I always enjoyed the 20-minute ones. I can understand kind of the popularity and the need to try and give people more chances to race, but I'm convinced it's definitely the right choice there as through turn 1 completely side by side. That's, at least we now know that's possible as well. Actually, Jordi will throw the car to the inside as well then through turn 2, and Juan immediately goes from first to third. Will Jordi now get a run on me in towards the next corner? Again, we will try and just force ourselves on the defensive line.
He's still there.
Again, make sure we get it slowed down into the apex. Just try and squeeze him out a little bit off the corner. Perfectly within our right to do so. Didn't feel that was too aggressive. Oh, that was bad. That was bad. Just did not get the car tipped in. That might really, really cost us as we make our way back up the hill. Oh, which way is he wanting to go? Just trying to sit in the middle. You can guess. So those two practically pushing each other along up over the top of the circuit there, as just having to throw a bit of a defensive line in, but that might really compromise our line on the way out. Just don't allow him to kind of carry the momentum, carry the speed and get to the inside. I think it is going to be a question of whoever's leading out of that final corner. He's probably going to take the victory in this one. But it's just whether, I mean, actually, let's have a look then. If you are leading, will the guy be able to get a run? He's got pretty much the perfect slipstream there, and yeah, you just can't quite do it. There's Florian as well. What is he going to be like if he gets a bit of a look in? It's again completely flat through turn 1, but we won't be able to do anything.
Still there.
Just got to try and hook it up the long way around.
Still there.
No, 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 no. First one next to the day. Oh, we'll lose 2 and 3 as well, I think. That's a little bit disappointing. Lucky that I kept the car planted. But just a tiny little error can make all the difference. And it's what those guys are waiting for in this kind of event. Will we be able to try and fight our way back through? Will we see the gloves come off on the last lap there? Oh, Juan even, sorry, just making again another little error. I feel like Jordi might just have a tiny bit more pace than everybody else, because I've actually got fastest lap on a 29.2. No idea when I set that, but not going to knock it. So we try again with another visor strip. What are we going to see?
The car in front is Vissa, car number 3, C license, and their rating
I
is
just think
2.8.
Jordi's got a little bit too much pace at the moment. I feel like it was us two. That was kind of the big battle here. Juan, I'm not sure he can keep up with him unless he's just waiting for a slipstream back towards turn 1. You would expect us all to really just start bunching up on each other. But again, there's not going to be a lot we can do all the way back here, because everybody's going to be banging off the red line. We need to see a bit of a squabble. There we go. Jordi again, trying to defend.
New fastest lap
It's
for
just a question of how
Sanchez,
smooth can you be through
129.2.
turn 1. Oh, we'll get to the outside of Florian. That'll turn to the inside. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's a critical move to make at this stage. Will he be able to get the run back on me off of the corner? I don't think he will. And now we have got the best seat in the house to watch these two fight for P1 and potentially try and bring ourselves back into it then. This has been a really, really good race up to this point. Let's hope it doesn't go a bit pear-shaped on the very last lap there, as again just trying to manage that little bit of wheel spin off of turn 3, or turn 4 really I should say. Try and meet that apex as best as we can. And yeah, I don't think Florian's got enough at the moment. I think he just wants to settle it in, bring it home, wait and see if there's any chaos towards the end of this one. Like I said, I think Jordi's definitely got just a couple of tenths in the back pocket. A little bit more smooth perhaps. Or not if he does that though. That will leave him vulnerable. But again, Juan cannot maximise the run. That is probably where he's losing most of the time around this circuit. He's kind of a bit carried by the fact that obviously then he gets a huge slipstream again back towards T1. 1 lap to go though here from Phillip Island. This has been a brilliant race up to this point. Non-stop action. And say, Geordie's going to try and break the slipstream as best as he can. I'm just more focused on trying to get the run back on Juan in towards turn 1.
That last lap was
Really a lot I can do with it that time, though. Unless we can have a look to the inside at turn 2.
Car right.
Get the nose to the inside, will make it happen. Surprised he gave you that as easily as he did. We're going to be met with understeer though on the exit. We'll have the slipstream again off of Geordie though. That might be enough to keep us in front. So we'll just about get in front of his nose there, and we will hang on to the position for now. I'm expecting a dive bomb though, down at the hairpin. So Geordie there, another little mistake as well. It's all getting nip and tuck on this final lap there, and I think Geordie wanted to try and keep us side by side for as long as he could. We'll be able to try and get the power down off of the corner. Has Juan got a good run? I think he has that time. So we've just now, I think, got to try and hang on to P2 here through the final few corners. It has been a really, really good fun race. Don't think we're going to be able to do anything against Geordie in P1. We've just got to try and make sure that we hit our apexes. Don't make any errors. So yeah, you see, he definitely knows how to take that line. Try and carry the speed off of the corner. But again, it's if you're leading out of that final turn, you just can't really do anything about it. Through the final turn, though, we actually set 28.9. No idea when we did that, but I think Geordie is going to take the victory here. He's certainly doing a lot of celebrating before he makes it to the line. Geordie will claim it, though, by about 1/10 of a second.
Well done.
2/10 of a second when all is said and done now. What a race that was. 10 laps just non-stop. All of us glued to each other. That was really, really good fun. Let's go take a look at our incident report. And then, of course, our final race results. Well, here we go then. It actually took quite a while before we had our first incident of the race. And it was a couple of cars a little bit further back there. A bit of a sloppy kind of tangling together as they made their way through turn 1. I think the yellow car obviously carried the speed through. And he just got a little bit loose on the way in. But yeah, it's a long way later. He just hasn't hit his marks there. And, well, luckily he's come off second best in that situation, because I think he's only got himself to blame. Bit later on, another couple of guys trying to get a run as well. That's really unlucky for the car we were on board with. Just got completely squeezed in the middle of that. Oh, it's the same guy actually coming back onto the circuit, I think, that maybe caused it. No, apparently not. It must have been a couple of laps later there. Just 3 into 1 does not go. He was actually net-coded there a little bit slightly. But I think either way he was going to find himself in the gravel trap. And a disappointing, little moment. I think, was this the leader? No, another guy just going for a spin. Like I said, it's so difficult to try and put the power down off of that corner. Later on then, through the final few turns, this just looks a little bit messy, and a huge miscommunication there over the back of the guy in front. Somehow gets away with just a little bit of front wing damage, and, well, he's walked away jail-free from that murder. Any more then? Another one running just a little bit wide, and then... I mean, I think that's a retaliation, isn't it? Let's take a look from the cockpit cam. That looks to be quite retaliatory, if you ask me. That blimp footage isn't going to work. Does he keep his foot in the throttle on the exit? I mean, to be fair, he doesn't keep his foot on the throttle, but he definitely doesn't brake where he should be there. I don't know what there was. He hasn't made contact with him beforehand, has he? I don't believe. There's no netcode or anything. But I think he's just realised he's not going to be able to hang on to it and just absolutely sends him, which is a bit crazy there late on. And there we go then. That was all the incidents from the race. So let's go have a look at our final results. Or taking a look then at our final race results. Only the 1 incident point there, so we gained 0.08 SR, but 90 iRacing. That's exactly what we needed from that one. Really, really happy with the result we got there. Juan and Florian behind me both got away with 0x. It's not really a particularly... It's quite a difficult track to get an incident point without then losing loads of time as well. So happy that we got to the checkered flag there. Geordie, though, I mean, he's on 3,300 iRatings, so he came into this with basically double mine, so pretty happy they were able to keep up with him there. Sergio as well actually got back towards the fight right at the end of that one, so a really good job by him. But when you look at kind of your top 6 there, we were really the outlier when it came to iRacing as well. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon with more iRacing content.